interactive one. You got to interact with us, so that that gives me energy to continue and give you the more possible scenarios in this session today. Yeah, team. So yeah, let's wait for 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll start off with the session. Okay. So friends, how many of you are experienced already? Say you have uh, sorry, how many of you are developers here? Java developers? Anyone? Python? You're into Python? Okay. Yeah. Online teams? Okay. Singh Mahi, Senapati, Nagaraju. Yeah. Jagdish, Salesforce developer. Vinay from Selenium. Practices in Java. Java developer. Perfect. Perfect. So all of us here. Yeah. Complete fresher. Some of you are Java developers. Very good. Very good team. Yeah. I don't have experience, IT experience. No issues. No issues, team. So yeah. So what are the highest, what are the jobs that you're finding more in demand in the current day scenario? Currently, what jobs are you finding more in demand? Cloud platforms, DevOps, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, right? And of course, data scientist, big data analyst, right? These are the areas where we are finding, jobs more and more, right? Recruitment's happening at a great level. No matter what platform you choose, always remember, team, you got to stay updated with a AI platform, because there is a saying, AI is not replacing your jobs, but the person with AI knowledge is replacing your jobs, right? So, everyone here, so far in my DevOps journey, I implemented AI with only one tool, which is a GitHub Copilot platform and Chat GPT at most. But for this batch, we are planning to take this entire batch right from the beginning, introducing you to AI tools and giving you more and more insights and make you job ready by adding more exposure towards AI. Right. So far, even in my DevOps projects, when I teach students, so far, whatever the batches I took, we were taking source code developed by some developer, and we were doing all CI/CD implementation, software development, release activities over some XYZ developer source code. But in this batch, all the scripts that we write, all the code that that we generate, everything is via some AI platforms only. So that's the reason this course we named it as DevOps Artificial Intelligence. I believe all of you whoever got how you approach it, Naresh IT, I'm not sure of, but the what's a yeah the advertisements they made are all DevOps Artificial Intelligence only. Okay, so this course is all about giving you complete overview on DevOps, AWS cloud, and of course some other cloud platforms too, and alongside with that, artificial intelligence as well. Yeah, team. So without any further delay, let's get started. Let me just ensure, am I recording the session? Yes. Online team, my screen is visible to all of you. Yes, no. Yep. Okay, perfect. So we're good to go, team. So let's continue. So what exactly is DevOps, and why there is a huge buzz around DevOps? So the key takeaway of this session is to give you complete clarity about DevOps, AWS cloud. Why there is a huge buzz around DevOps? Is it really the right time to learn DevOps, or it's just the hype that we're just going by the hype? If not now, when should we learn DevOps? All these concepts I'll try to address in detail. Yeah, team. So well, yeah, fine, friends. I believe now it's viewed in full screen, right? Shiva, is it now appearing as a full screen? Shivarma, not yet. Oh, wow, I made it full screen. Yeah, all right. So let's continue, team. Fine. So what exactly is DevOps, and why should we learn DevOps, or where is it implemented in the IT industry? Let's try to understand. So what is the tagline we added here? Adapt, adapt DevOps culture to meet your business needs. Right? This is a tagline. So what exactly is DevOps? If we were to understand, it's not a technology, it is a culture. It is a set of principles and practices that we adapt in software development to software delivery. Okay. So if we were to understand what are the business needs of a software company, listed ones are the business goals of a software company, like continuous delivery of a software, ensuring higher quality with cost optimization or lesser spending and reduced outages. So you take any business of any domain team, every business runs on fulfilling some business goals, isn't it? If we take the example of some food delivery company like Zomato, what's the goal of Zomato? Deliver food to the customers in time, ensuring quality packaging, isn't it? If we take the example of a hospital, what's their goal? Provide better treatment to the patients so that they gain more popularity, more and more patients kicks into the hospital, and so on. Likewise, if we take the example of what's a banking firm, offer better services to the customers so that customers, appreciate their work. More and more customers make bank accounts with them, and their business gets expanded. So that if their business is flourishing, what's happening? They are doing more and more profits, isn't it? Similarly, now the business goals of a software company are to deliver a software to the client faster, ensuring higher quality. Not only just deliver the software, but ensure you're releasing a quality software to your client. And then cost optimization. What does that mean? Cost optimization. What is the goal of any business team? Let's say if you start a business, what is the goal? With what goal, with what mindset do we start a business? Sorry? More revenue? Should we say profit? Yeah, of course. No one starts business just not to make profits. Everyone wants, everyone starts a business to do profits. So now a software company is no exception. Even software companies, they want to do profits. So how do they do profits? If we reduce the cost, let's say the client invested $1 million for his software product. If we are developing the product only for $500,000, the amount that we spent is only 500,000, then what's happening? Rest of the 500,000 is what's say our profit, isn't it? Similarly, now when we are developing a software to the client, what should we do? We got to identify a cost effective solution. But you should provide a robust software to your client, but at the same time, you have to reduce your expenses. Yeah, now let's say if I'm hiring developers, some 10 developers, for for those 10 developers in my project, I should pay wages. Now let's say if I'm hiring a developer with AI knowledge who is capable of doing what's a 5 more developers job. Now what's happening? A person with AI knowledge, what am I doing? I'm hiring only two what's it two developers who can do the job of 10, and thereby I'm paying wage only for 2 employees over there. Thereby I'm getting benefited a lot, right? So that way we got to understand how to identify a cost effective solution and benefit our software companies. That is one more business goal. And finally, reduced outages. After you developing a software and delivering it to the client, what happens is you have to ensure that the software that you deliver to the client is always running. It's not just the case that we develop a software and deliver it to the client. We also should ensure that the software that we deliver to the client is always running. Okay. Yeah, online team, I'll take your questions a bit later. Okay. At every regular intervals, I'll stop discussion and I'll ask your questions and address your queries. Okay. So because we are huge in number, addressing all your queries right at the very beginning is difficult for me. So please understand. I'll make sure I'll give you time and I'll address all your queries. Yep. So friends, now developing a software, testing it, and delivering it is one side of the coin. And the flip side of the coin is you should make sure that the software that you deliver to the client is always running. But unfortunately, in the current industry, or what's a so since softwares consumption is quite unpredictable, isn't it? At times we find Phone Pay, Paytm, Google Pay, all these platforms failing. We even at times find some of these platforms like Zomato also experiencing some downtime, right? It's all because of unpredictable events happening. What happens is software applications do fail at some point of time. When the application softwares that we created for a client fails, what should we do? We got to reduce that outage time to a very minimal level, isn't it? We got to make sure not only we deliver a software to the client, but also it is our responsibility to ensure that the software of the client is always working. But unfortunately, what happens at times, softwares do fail. When the software applications are failing, it is our responsibility to ensure that we reduce that outage time to a very minimal level. Yep. And how do we do that? What are the practices that we adapt to reduce software outage? All that we are going to have, we're going to discuss in this session. But let's understand a quick scenario, team. Let's say if some software failed and it extended for a long time, what sort of impact does it create? Yeah, please come, please come. What sort of impact does it create? Yeah, Tim, what do you think? If a software fails constantly, what sort of impact does it create? So let me ask you a quick example. What sort of online platforms do you use mostly for online shopping? What are the most popular online platforms we have? Amazon, Flipkart. Mostly we hear Amazon and Flipkart. E-commerce platforms, right? Why not Tata Click? Why not Chroma? Aren't they online platforms which sell the products like laptops, televisions, and so on and on? Why not them? Tata Click or Chroma? Because the impact that they created right at the beginning, the platforms were very latency, very slow. Yeah, we got the answer here. Venkatesh says they're very slow, right? Just because of latency challenges, what happened? Customers started looking into platforms that are robust in nature. When you're going through a platform, if the application that you're looking at is loading faster, you find yourself in favor of that platform. So similarly, if at all an application software you know that keeps on failing continuously, what happens? People reject that. So even though Tata Click and some of these platforms began long ago, what happened? They were not up to the mark like Flipkart and Amazon. Right, team? So reduced outages, if they are not addressed, that's going to impact your business a lot. Right. So these are the four major business goals that we should fulfill as a DevOps engineer. What are they? Deliver a software to the client faster, ensuring higher quality, and identify a cost-effective solution. Right. If the client is investing $1 million, you identify a solution with for just $500,000, and rest of the $500,000 is your profit. And reduce outages. Ensure that the software that you deliver to the client is not failing, but it's nearly impossible to develop a software without failure. See these softwares that we are talking about: Phone Pay, Google Pay, Paytm. Are we not finding them failing at times? Yeah, team. When they are failing, how much time are we facing a challenge? Forever. Within few hours, again the platforms are again back up and running. Just in case, let's say if phone pay is down for 3 or 4 days, what happens? You find majority of the people who enrolled with Paytm, they're jumping back to either phone pay or something else, right? So that's the reason, team, we have to ensure that not only delivering a product, we got to address the challenges of the application at any cost. Yeah. In order to fulfill all these business goals, excuse me, every software company is adapting some approaches, a discipline of activities. Developing a software and delivering a software to the client, what should we do? We got to identify a discipline to fulfill all those activities. And we have some software development models listed here with every model with some discipline of activities, right? Let's say, for example, if I were to travel from, let's say, one location to another which I never went, what are we doing? What's the approach that we take? Fire up a GPS, add a destination, and then what's happening? The GPS is providing you with multiple routes, and when you are provided with multiple routes, which route do we pick? The shortest route, the fastest route, or the route that doesn't cause any chaos, right? Let's say, even at times, even if it's the shortest route, let's say if there are any challenges, what we do, we try to avoid them and try to reach to the destination hassle free, right? So now software development models are something like that. Every software development model has a discipline of activities for software development company to adapt, develop a software, and deliver a software to the client. So back in the past, if we go back in time and understand, back in the past, organizations were adapting a software development model, which is this, a traditional SDLC model, where first we collect all the requirements from the client. So for better understanding, let's say, I'll take one of your name, your good name, please. Aslan. Arslan. So Arslan here, let's say, he want to run a business, which is a banking firm. Okay, for that banking firm, he need a software. Now, Arslan approached me and he said, "Hey, Prashant, I need a software to run my banking activities." Now, what I did is I collected all the requirements from him. I asked Arslan, "Okay, what are your requirements? What features do you want in your software?" And he said, "I need customer account creation, deposits, fixed deposits, withdrawals, gold loans, net banking, phone banking, email banking, right? Credit cards, debit cards, and so on and on." In a typical banking firm, what are all the activities that happen? He wants all those activities embedded in his software. He's looking for such software. Once I collected all the requirements from my client, Arslan, what I did is I started analyzing his application or his business. His line of business is belonging to a platform which is, a domain which is finance. So finance domains, mostly they're prone to, hacking and so on, right? Since it's a since we are developing a software for a banking firm, I got to make sure that I develop a software for him which is way much robust, secure, and I got to ensure that his application is not exposed to any intruders. So now I got to identify a platform which offers that robustness, Java or C or C++. Which platform should I develop a software for him? Followed by that, what I do, we jump to the design platform where we create an entire blueprint for his software. What should be the front end? What should be the back end, right? With some entity relationship diagrams, data flow diagrams. I create an entire blueprint logic for the project. Followed by that, the project gets into coding phase where a team of developers, they write code for the software. And then the project gets to testing phase where a test team test the entire software. Followed by that, we deliver the product to the client. And finally, maintenance phase is where if Arslan is facing any challenges, we are going to address their challenges and ensure that his software is absolutely working fine. Right, team? This is a traditional approach. In this traditional approach, let's say, to develop a software and deliver a software to him, we made a deal of, let's say, some 50 lakhs, right? Now he got to invest 50 lakhs for his software. And I said, Arslan, you're going to get this software after 3 years. You invest all the 50 lakhs and we're going to deliver the software to you after 3 years. Now the client is investing all his money and he got to wait until 3 years to start his business activities. Right? Now 50 lakhs of investment into I would say he's putting all his investment into nothing. I mean, he's not consuming anything out of it right at the very beginning. He got to wait for 3 years and he doesn't know what he's going to get in the future. Is he going to get a software that is that's going to function properly, or he faces challenges? He doesn't know anything at all. So the traditional approach left customers in chaos, where let's say during that 3 years of period of time, if Arslan wants some changes in his software, Today he gave me requirements, but during this 3 years of period, if he wants some additional changes in his software, we are not accepting them. And client is not an active participant. When he checks what happened with my software, I just send an email to him saying that we are at level 1 coding. We developed the software till this part. I attach some screenshots and send an email to him. So I'm not making him an active participant in this, what's say, a line of business when I'm adapting a traditional software development model. And accuracy of estimations might go wrong. I may not deliver the product to the client within the preferred or within the project deadline. If the project gets extended, he got to pay more and more amount to my software company. So this way, there are a lot of challenges when we try to develop an entire software to the client and deliver the whole product to the client all at once, right? And the major challenge with for the software companies is to what's it test the entire application and fix the defects, bugs, and deliver the product to the client. So with all these challenges, team, we are no longer adapting this traditional SDLC process, right? Because since it's it's also known as a waterfall model, because one step completed, we get to the next step, and we get to the furthermore, the next step, and so on. There is no going back, isn't it? The waterfall, it flows downwards, and it at any point of time it never go up, isn't it? The same way when we adapt traditional approach, we keep going down by the requirements given by the client, but there is no possibility of changing the requirements according to the client. Meaning, Arslan is investing 50 lakhs, and the software that he gets is based on the requirements that he mentioned right at the very beginning. That's it. So now, team, with all these challenges, organizations face a lot of issues, and thereby, now in the current day scenario, this approach is no longer appreciated. This approach of software development is no longer what's appreciated. Instead, in the current day scenario, we're going by a software development model which is agile. Okay, agile SDLC process is what we are adapting. In traditional way of software development, we use it to develop applications that are monolith in nature. So, what is monolith? Any idea, team? What is the keyword monolith? Yeah, online team. Well, in regular terms, tell me what is monolith? What's the meaning of monolith? One single thing. Like say, for example, you're in a what's say tank bandiller, you find Gautam Buddha's statue, right? It is carved out of one huge rock, isn't it? And you find there the what's say the mentions, if you observe, it is Asia's one monolith, what's say statue, meaning the entire statue is carved out of one huge rock. And if you go by the history of how it's deployed over there, you find a lot of interesting content, meaning they face a lot of challenges during the time they what's exported that statue and place it in, in, yeah, place it over there. Transport challenges. The statue was what's say drowned, and again for 2 years they put a lot of effort. Again they brought the statue, and finally they placed over that what's it, the frame. So what am I trying to say is monolith application is something that we develop the entire application at a time and we deliver the entire application at a time. If the application fails, we don't know in which area the application is, but the application has failed. We got to put all our effort and identify where the application failed, right? But now coming to, oh, I'm sorry. My screen is not visible, team. Just a second. Yeah, online team. I've been sharing these screens. Are you not finding them? Online team? Oh boy. Just let me know. Are you able to view my screen? Yes, no. Visible. Yes, we are seeing only the first slide. Oh, sorry. Just a second, team. Stop share. right, all right. Just a second, team. Just a second. Let me share my entire screen, not the full screen. Just a second. Oops. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fine, team. All right. So let's continue. So these are the screens I discussed so far. Software development models, traditional SDLC, and then traditional SDLC challenges. And now we are talking about Agile. Yep. Well, team. So let's continue. Thank you for bringing up Ramurthy. Thank you. Yeah. So let's continue, team. So in Agile software development, what happens is we don't develop an entire software to the client at a time. Instead, what we do is we understand the priorities of the client, and accordingly, what we do, we deliver the product to the client in an incremental fashion. Yeah, what do I mean again? Let's try to understand with an example. So let's say, even after taking 3 years of time and developing a whole product to Arslan, what happened is I found that he is consuming only few features in his software. Not everything. He's consuming only few features. Like say, customer account creation, deposits, fixed deposits, withdrawals, and balance inquiry. He is accepting customers to create bank accounts with his bank. He is accepting deposits. People are withdrawing cash. Likewise, what say? They're doing balance inquiry, stuff like that. And we added gold loans, education loans, all those features in his software. But what happened is when I checked it with him, he said, "Hey Prashant, today is the day of inception of my bank. How can I offer loans right away today itself to my customers? They should do some aggressive transactions at least for 6 months. Then I'm ready to offer loans to my customers." Now, what is the point of him waiting for that long time to get an entire software which he is not consuming to the fullest? So, understanding the priorities of the client, if we develop a software, not letting him to wait for a long time, what happens? He get benefited likewise too. So the main motive of Agile is something like that. We understand the priorities of the client, and what we do, instead of developing a whole product to the client, we try to develop only the features that the client requires. Initially, we develop a software with those features. And in the second iteration, we develop some more features and deliver the product to the client. In the third iteration, some more features. So that way, in Agile SDLC process, what we do is we ensure that we don't develop a whole product to the client at a time, but we deliver a product to the client in incremental fashion. Yeah, team, a quick example. Let's say if you go to a restaurant with your family, how do you order food? First, we begin off with soups, starters, some, let's say, some light food. After that, you go to the main course, and then you end your meal with a dessert, right? So, how do you order the food? Do you order the food this way? Let's say you call up a waiter and say, "I want everything all at once to be delivered to my table, including the ice creams, everything, starting from soups, everything I want on my table. You take as much time as you want." Do we order that way, or we order initially what we require? After that, the second one, after that, the third one, and so on. So we order food in an iterated manner, in an incremental fashion. Similarly, in Agile software development too, what we do is we understand the priorities of the client and we deliver the product to the client in incremental fashion. Say, friends, here, all these boxes here, they're all one software, one huge product that we got to deliver to the client. What we do is we understand the priorities of the client, and accordingly, we break the software into multiple snippets or multiple blocks here. We pick one block, we plan what are the features that the client is expecting from us. We write code only for that piece of software. We test it, review it, and finally we deliver it to the client. Once done with the first module, we begin off with the second module. Now, let's say I'm going to develop software to my client this way: customer account creation, deposits, fixed deposits, withdrawals, and balance inquiry. I'm going to develop only that software, test it, review it, and finally release it to my client. And my client, with that minimal software, he's running his business. After a while, what am I doing? I'm adding some more features, like let's say credit cards, debit cards, and so on, and delivering that product to the existing software. Likewise, after a couple of days, I'm adding, let's say, loans, education loans, gold loans, etc., and delivering that product to the client. So in this fashion, when we deliver a product to the client, what's happening? The client is engaged with his software. We're getting constantly a feedback with the existing software. If the client is facing any challenges, we are reviewing them, we are reworking on them, correcting them. And in this fashion, what we are doing, we are delivering a quality product to the client. If we go to the site agilemanifesto.org, yeah, team. If we go by this site, we get to know what is the main goal of Agile. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. You got to make sure that you satisfy your client by developing and delivering a quality software to your client, and welcome changing requirements even late in development. If the client wants any changes in his software, we got to welcome those changes and make sure that client's priority is at the top notch level, right? Next, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, rather than letting the client wait for years and then deliver the product to the client. We got to make sure that we deliver a working software to the client from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, within a preference to the shorter time scale. Yeah, now you may be wondering, is this a DevOps class or it's a what's a project management class? So friends, let me make it clear. DevOps, as I said right at the beginning, it's a culture. It's not a software technology. Okay, if it's a software technology like databases or networks, I will talk only about that. But unfortunately, DevOps is a culture where we are going to take an active part in an entire software development to software release. Right. So first things first, we should have a very good understanding about how softwares are developed. What is the perspective in the what is the approach that we are following in the current day scenario? Understand the challenges with the existing software development models, and then we got to talk about DevOps. That's the reason the introductions we are talking more about what's say project management stuff like that. Okay, I'll jump into DevOps real quick, team. So now just understand, we are currently developing application softwares to the clients which are microservices applications, meaning you're not developing a whole product at a time, but you're breaking the application into multiple segments and then you're delivering the product to the client. Now, team, in this process, if we try to understand, I kept it to a very minimal level here. See, in agile software development, there are a bunch of developers who write code for a software. Let's say a calculator software. They write code, and what do? They maintain all their code into a version controlling platform like GitHub, something like that. And once they put all their code here, what happens is there is a build team. That team, what do? They take all that code through a build process and create a product, a software. Once the software is created, that software is taken to a QA environment where a QA team, they perform tests on the software. If it works fine, well and good, the application is delivered to production environment. If the software is not working fine, it is rejected and again routed back to the development teams. Developers got to rework on that source code, and again they publish their code to a version controlling platform. And again, the goal of this build team is to get that code, perform a build activity, create a package, and again it goes through a test process. And this process keeps on happening until the point, the QA team finalizes the product. Once it's done, then what happens? The application gets delivered to the production environment. Of course, there are a lot of steps though here, like code quality checks, code analysis, right? And let me just, if I got that project, I'll show you right away. Console AWS. So we got to perform code quality checks, code analysis, run unit test cases, right? And so on during this build process. And finally, the final outcome is to deliver a product to the client. Yeah, team. So now in this agile workflow, there are multiple teams involved. A development team, build and release managers, project managers, right? Business owners, test engineers, system engineers, and so on. Now, if all these teams work in proper coordination, well and good. Developing a software and delivering a software to the client becomes pretty easy. But unfortunately, in agile software development process, there began coordination challenges. No proper connectivity between the teams. That led to delivering the product to the client become more and more hectic. Yeah, friends, delivering a product to the client became quite challenging because of no proper coordination between the teams. So, since there are multiple teams involved, if all these teams work in proper coordination, in proper synchronization, it's possible for us to deliver a product to the client. But unfortunately, agile software development, struggled a lot here in enabling proper coordination here between the teams. And the second challenge in agile is something like this: a developer developed a product. Let's say towards the right here, a developer developed an application that is working absolutely fine for him on his machine. But the same software, when deployed on a test environment, the test engineer is reporting that the application is not working fine. Now, the test engineer is routing back to the developer saying that the software is not working fine. And this guy says, it works on my machine. And the developer says, it works on my machine. So why there is a challenge that a software works fine for one guy, but the same software doesn't work fine for another person? What's the major issue here? If we try to understand over here, team, every software that we run requires some dependencies, some environment. And here, let's say a developer configured some environment like Java 8 and some packages or dependencies of 1.0 version, which this application is actually expecting. But here, coming to the right side, what happened? The test environment is configured with dependencies of different version. So thereby what's happening here? The application is not working fine for this guy, right? So thereby, now what's happening here is delivering a product to the client became much more challenging here too. Right, team? So how do we address these challenges and how do we make sure that we deliver a product to the client way much faster? This is what we got to understand. Yeah, so over here, this process, if we compare it with some car manufacturing unit, do you think every component of a car is manufactured by that vendor himself? Let's say if we take the example of a Tata Nexon, all the spare parts and everything of the car comes from Tata itself or multiple vendors. From different vendors, the tires are coming from Apollo. Let's say the speakers are coming from Bose, and so on, right? So now let's think of that way. All these developers, they're writing code for individual snippets of a software. They're bringing all that code to a version controlling platform. And here, a build team, what they're doing, they're performing a build activity. Just think of this way: in a manufacturing unit, all the items are assembled to a car framework or to the car chassis. And finally, the output of a build is a product getting formed. Let's say a car got manufactured successfully. And is it hitting the production directly once the car is manufactured? Definitely not. Again, there's a QA team who are test engineers who are performing tests on the vehicle, identifying what's the performance of the vehicle on, let's say, highways, on terrain, off road, and so on, identifying all the challenges. If there are some things that got to be fixed, they're routing back to the manufacturers again, asking them to rework, fine tune, and again, the vehicle is being built with new features, and again, it's being tested. And finally, if everything is good, then it's hitting the production environment. Now, let's say the car hit the production environment, and what happened is some customer raised a concern saying that when I purchased the car, before I purchased the car, when I went for a test ride, it worked absolutely fine. But when I'm driving it, I'm facing challenge. Now, what's the issue here? Let's say here, the car that he purchased is of petrol fuel type, but he got it filled with diesel type. Just for our understanding, I'm saying. Yeah, now what's happening here? Since the vehicle is not compatible to the fuel type, what's happening? It's facing a challenge. Right. So we got to understand what are the scenarios, how the software application, how to make the application work fine across all the platforms. Because we can't just say that the client who consumes the software, we cannot force him to use only the packages and dependencies of our requirement. Client may use some other packages. So thereby, we got to make sure that we deliver a product to the client that should work no matter he is using a Windows machine or a Mac OS or whatever, it should work fine in all the areas. So for that team, for ensuring that to address all these development challenges, coordination challenges, and these environment challenges, we got to adapt a solution. And that solution is nothing but we bringing forth a culture into Agile, which is nothing but a DevOps culture. Right. So what is DevOps? If we try to understand and go through this definition, what are you getting, team, when you go by this definition? DevOps is a set of practices that combine software development and IT operations. The main goal of DevOps is to shorten the SDLC process. Whatever the time is taking in developing a software and delivering a software to the client, we have to shorten that time. We got to shorten that time, but also ensure we're delivering a quality software to the client. DevOps is complementary with Agile software development. In order to understand DevOps, you should know Agile software development. That's the reason I began my discussion with Agile software development. Yeah, now making sense. Several DevOps aspects came from Agile methodology. So by adapting DevOps, we are trying to fulfill the goal of Agile, which is nothing but deliver a software to the client faster, ensuring quality. DevOps is not a new software development model, but it's just an advancement to the existing Agile software development process. Yeah. And how are we achieving the goal of delivering a product to the client faster with DevOps? Means by enabling automations, communications, and collaborations. It's not a new software development model. It's just an advancement to Agile software development process. Yeah, team. How many of us are from Hyderabad? All of us? Yeah. So let's say, team, for example, back 15 years ago, when I was in Hyderabad, if we were to travel from, let's say, KPHB to High Tech City during this time, like 8 o'clock or during this time, it used to take around 2 hours or 2.5 hours of time. The distance is just 6 kilometers, but still, it used to take long time just because of the road, what's say, overloaded with traffic and so on. But now, how much time it's taking? Of course, even now it's painful though, but at least better, isn't it? Hardly 45 to 50 minutes, right? Back then, it used to take a lot of time, but now it's much more better. Even from KPHB to Secunderabad, if you were to travel back then, 15 years ago, there is a junction here, Chidimetla and Balanagar. So you got to in order to break that signal and cross that signal, it used to take us at least 30 minutes of time because of overflow of traffic, right? But now what's happening? We are traveling so smooth over those roads. Why is that? Means I'm not changing the path, but what got advanced there? There were a lot of flyovers constructed with which what's happening? Some of the traffic is flowing under the flyover, some of the traffic is going over the flyover. So you can think of DevOps as a flyover on your Agile software development process. DevOps is nothing but you're adapting the same Agile software development process only, but adding these flyovers here, automation, communications, and collaborations. What you're doing, you're speeding up the process of software development to software delivery, identifying the impediments or blockers in this Agile workflow, where things are turning worse, why the application is not getting delivered to the client faster, understanding all those challenges. What we are doing, we are speeding up this process of software development to release via by adding DevOps practices. Yeah, team, enabling automations, communications, and collaborations. So how, let's try to understand the same Agile workflow. If I go prefix with DevOps or add DevOps, this is how it begins, team. Developers write code. Developers are writing code and they're publishing that code to a GitHub platform. And then we are configuring a CI server here, a continuous integration server, with which what we do is we add some automation step where we create a project where the code written by developers should be pulled onto the CI server. and we integrate this CI server with a bunch of tools like Maven, Nexus, Tomcat, SonarQube, stuff like that. And we perform an automated build activity here. And that automated build activity creates a package for us, a software for us. And that CI server deploys that particular software into a QA environment where, if at all your organizations are following TDD approach, test driven development approach, we bring forth some automated test cases, run those automated test cases over this application. If they yield a valid result, well and good. If they are yielding a bad result, the CI server, we configure it in such a way. What happens? The CI server sends automated email notifications to the entire team in this project. So thereby everyone gets notified that the software failed. Even any stage here, if at all any stage that we configured in a CI server fails, it immediately alerts the entire team, letting them know that the software failed at some point. So thereby we jump forth and we address those challenges and speed up this speed up this software development to release process. Yep. And now, once the QA team, once the automation, server sent an email to developers, let's say, developers started reworking on the code. And once they publish the code to GitHub, what happens? Again here, we set an automation with GitHub, a concept called webhooks. What happens is whenever a developer publishes the change, immediately this CI server, without your intervention, it gets alerted and it does all these activities for you. Yeah, without we doing anything, we just automate it and leave it. Whenever a developer does a change, immediately this process continues and keeps on happening. So this process, we call it as a continuous integration process, where developers write code, a CI server pulls that code, performs a build, creates a package, deploys that to test, runs some automated test cases, right? And finally, the verdict is we got to deliver the application to the production environment. If at all we want the application to be delivered to the client, even that if we want to automate it, we add a CD process, which is continuous deployment or delivery. We add a continuous deployment. If we want a product to be delivered to the client, automated. We don't want to intervene here. Everything to be automated from software development to release. That entire process, we call it as continuous integration and continuous deployment. But if at all we want that delivery process to be done by us, a manual intervention, that process we call it as continuous integration and continuous delivery. Deliveries are manual, deployments are automated. Yeah, team. So this entire process to perform, we got a huge pile of tools. These are the tools that I'm listing here: Git and GitHub, Maven, Nexus, Tomcat, SonarQube, Jenkins, Docker, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes. These are all the tools that we use in this process to speed up the entire software development to release activities. Yeah, team, getting bored? Online candidates, are we following? Online teams, are we following? Yeah. I got what you're trying to teach, but can I know, okay, where AI is used in this process, as I already covered DevOps? Yeah, sure, I'll do. Yeah, fine, team. So this is what we, by adapting DevOps in our agile workflow, what we are trying to do, we're setting up a pipeline. And here already, as a DevOps engineer, you consumed some of the job positions. What are they? No more build and release engineers. You replaced them. No more operations teams. You replaced them too. Yeah, back in Agile, we got build release managers and system engineers. What is the goal of system engineers? They got to set infrastructure for carrying out all these operations. If a developer wants some softwares in his platform, in his servers, there are system engineers who got to configure those tools and perform all the activities. But now, coming to DevOps, what happened? You already replaced some of the jobs, and you are fulfilling some of the other job positions too. Like, no more operations teams here. If at all you want some softwares to carry out this entire pipeline of activities, who is creating the infrastructure for you? None other than you. DevOps. You are doing operational activities too, meaning what servers do you need? You are creating the servers for you. What configurations do you need in those servers? You are doing those configurations. Likewise, you're performing this entire software development to release activities by adding your development, by adding your what we call development activities. As a DevOps engineer, your development activities are, you don't write any code, but you write here a job in a CI server. You create a job to get the source code, to perform a build, to integrate all the tools. That comes into your development activity. And the infrastructure creation, tools installations, all those are falling into your operational activities. So already you stole the jobs of build and release managers and operations teams. Now our job is being stolen by AI. Yeah, our job is being stolen by AI. That's where now, to do things better, we got to rely on artificial intelligence, right? But I'll talk about that towards the end. But now what we do is, let's try to understand what is the role of cloud in DevOps. Okay, why should we learn cloud platform in DevOps? Yeah, team. So what is cloud computing, by the way? What is cloud computing? Why is it so popular now? To store the data, that is it. That's it. To store the data, deploy the products. Okay. Okay, let me get the definition for you. So cloud is a collection of computing resources that we avail over the medium internet. What are computing resources, team? What are computing resources? CPU, storage, memory, networks. Of course, now, as one of you said here, SaaS, PaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, we are availing softwares, platforms, and so on, right? So now coming to cloud, the advantage of cloud is you can avail all these resources for a very lesser price when compared to you maintaining them on premise, isn't it? Cloud is simplifying your job of maintaining on premise servers and benefiting you a lot when compared to you doing a lot of investment, right? So the advantages of the cloud is you pay money for the resources that you consume, and the amount that you pay for the cloud is way much cheaper than you maintaining and performing activities on premise environment. Let's take a quick example, team. I want to run Naresh IT's website, okay, on premise within this building. I want to run Naresh IT's website within one single server. And there is a learning management system of Naresh IT where there are a lot of videos students are accessing on a daily basis. Now I need a server to run a website. So what configuration do you think is sufficient? I need a server with a good storage and network with a good bandwidth. And, I have to make sure that the server runs all the time, 24 by 7, 365 days. This is my requirement. So now, in how many areas should I invest? In how many sections I should invest money? First, hardware, we got to purchase a very powerful machine with some huge amount of CPU, storage, RAM, and so on, and then deploy our website. Of course, in that server, I got to run an operating system. If I rely on Windows, I got to purchase Windows operating system licensed version. Then I got to avail a powerful network. Yep. Ensure that there is a 24 by 7 power supply to that server, because a lot of students are accessing videos, and for them, I just can't simply say this building has got no network or got no power supply, so look after your website after a while. We cannot say that. So I got to make sure there is a 24 by 7 power supply. Likewise, what's a proper backup? If at all there is a power outage, I got to make sure we are maintaining a proper power backup. A system administrator constantly administering that server. Network guy to ensure that there is no unnecessary traffic getting to our server. The server is not getting into the hands of any intruders. Even a cyber security team to ensure that my servers got no challenges, no any loopholes that some intruders might attack my machine. So by the end of the month, of course, cooling facility too, right? Because servers generate tremendous amount of heat. Heat is the factor that affects the hardware resources. So I got to ensure there is a proper power, sorry, cooling facility enabled too. So with all these, resources set, end of the month, let's say, I'm getting charged off around, I'm getting a billing of around, let's say, some 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs, right? Just to run my website on within on-premise environment. This is the amount that I'm getting charged. What if I rely on the cloud? What if I avail a server from the cloud platform? Yeah, team, let's go to AWS Cloud Platform. If I avail a server from the cloud, what's happening? The cloud vendor offers me a server of my requirement for a price when compared to the price that I'm getting, or the price that I'm getting charged for on-premise environments. The amount is way much lesser, and I'm getting relieved too. When I'm creating a server, see friends, I got a server created here. There is some server running, and this server, is it running within this building? No, it's running somewhere in the cloud in North Virginia region, right? So now I don't need to worry about this machine's power supply, cooling facility, right? Storage, and so on and on. I availed a server currently with a configuration T2.micro, which is 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU and 8 GB of hard disk. If it's not sufficient for me, what I would do is I'll jump here, and I got an option to scale it up. If I want more CPU, more RAM, if I want more, storage, what I would do, I'll just jump here, instance settings, change instance type. Now, if this server is configuration is not sufficient for me, I go choose a bigger one. Likewise, when my business is not doing well, what I do, again, I scale it down. Everything is under my control to make sure that my spendings are getting, lesser and lesser. So we discussed about, one factor, which is cost optimization or lesser spending. Yeah. As a software organization, if you want to avail a cost effective solution, you got to make sure that you spend lesser out of, the investment, or what you're getting from the client. So how do we spend less? If we are relying on the cloud servers, you get charged only for the resources that you consume, pay as you go. So when you're paying only for the resources that you consume, and when you have the option to either scale up or scale down your infrastructure, what's happening here? You're getting a lot of benefits from here, isn't it? Right, team? So this is one factor where organizations started relying on the cloud environments. Okay. Anyways, in the cloud discussions, I'll go deeper. What are what's the use cases that we should rely on the cloud? What are the use cases that we should not rely on the cloud? Yeah, because we just should not go by the hype, and getting only looking at the benefits factor. We should not jump to the cloud, because I got one client whom I'm working now, where we are doing a cloud repatriation, meaning the vendor, they kept all their resources in the cloud, but later what happened, their business model is not compatible now to the cloud. So thereby we have to, again, migrate all the resources back from the cloud to their on-premise environments. So don't always go by the advantages. We should know the disadvantages of the cloud too. Except for example, say friends, for example, I developed a banking software for my client, and I maintained his banking application in a cloud platform. Let's say recently, let's say for example, Government of India, they mentioned, they brought a rule saying that all the banking firms, they should maintain their data and everything within their on-premise environments only. Now what should I do? I got to again bring that application of my client back to his on-premise environments, right? So there are some governing challenges, compliance issues that let your business applications not run on the cloud, right? So in the cloud and cloud introductions, I'll talk about it in much more detail, team. But coming to our discussions, we are going to do all our DevOps activities over the cloud platform. Okay, DevOps over AWS cloud platform is what we're going to do. And these are all the best practices that we're going to implement. Continuous development, as I said, the application development is no longer a one-time activity. In earlier time, back in the past, application development is a one-time activity. Once the entire software is developed, then we test it and then we deliver it to the client. But here, application development is a continuous act. Thereby, deployments are also continuous. Integration part, like tests, everything are happening on a regular basis. Infrastructure, we got to automate it. Continuous testing, configuration management, delivery, monitoring, and security. These are all the best practices a DevOps engineer should adapt to, right? So, if at all I were to develop a software to my client and deliver it to my client, I got to begin off from here, automating the infrastructure for that project, configuring that infrastructure with necessary tools, and then get the code from the developers and perform activities like perform build activities, run some test cases, deploy the applications to the other environments, run the applications, monitor those applications, ensure that the applications that we released are of secure without any vulnerabilities, right? So these are all the activities that we got to implement in our DevOps, in our entire DevOps process, developing a software and delivering a software. We don't write any source code, but there are a lot of development activities you as a DevOps engineer should fulfill too. Yeah, team. So now, in order to perform all these activities, as I said, we got these tools as the prerequisites. But sorry, we got all these tools to cover. But in order to get started off with these tools, first we should know some prerequisites. What are they? You should know Linux basic concepts. Next, shell scripting, and then networking basics. Yeah, we got to learn Linux basics, shell scripting, and networking basics. If you know these prerequisites, then only you are supposed to enter into the DevOps environment. Yeah, team, because all the tools that we're going to learn here, these are all mostly open source platforms developed over Linux operating system. These are all open source tools which are mostly developed over Linux operating systems. Docker is completely Linux based. Kubernetes is completely Linux based, right? And the operating system, why we choose Linux means the other day, the last week, we experienced, Microsoft Windows operating systems downtime, isn't it? A blue screen error. Yeah. So, yeah, team. So, why do you think there's a blue screen error issue at Microsoft level? So, why there is a blue screen error? Why Microsoft Windows always faces this challenge? Even the last time my laptop too went into this error. So the problem with Windows is Windows operating systems right at the beginning when they began, meaning when Microsoft developed Windows operating systems, they developed this operating system to offer their customer personal computing experience. One user, personal computing. One user can consume that software, that operating system. They developed the operating system that way. But coming to Linux, Linux operating system is derived from Unix, and Linux operating systems, first Unix operating systems were developed for multi-user and multitasking, and for continuous long-running activities. Unix operating systems were developed back in the past. Okay, but the problem with Unix is Unix runs only on some specific hardware. Yeah, friends, like let's say Sun Solaris. It runs only on Sun Microsystems hardware configuration. IBM AIX. It runs only on IBM specific hardware. Mac OS runs only on Mac OS runs only on MacBooks, Apple hardware, isn't it? iOS runs on iOS runs on Samsung. Possible? No, iOS runs only on Apple specific hardware. So the current what's a generation Mac Unix operating systems, you can term Mac OS and iOS, right? But now coming to Linux, Linux is derived from Unix operating system, and it is adapted to run on any hardware type. Linux operating systems are meant to run on any hardware type, adapting all the best factors of Unix multi-user and multitasking, continuous long-running activities. We got Linux operating systems that runs on any hardware type. And the beauty of Linux is they are open source. Linux operating systems, majority of all of them are open source, meaning you don't need to pay any amount consuming Linux operating system. But coming to Windows, you got to purchase licensing and then you should consume Windows operating systems. Right, team? So now, if you use Unix, you got to purchase that specific hardware. When you use Linux, what's happening? You can run Linux on any hardware type and it's free. Thereby, which operating system do you find cost effective here? Which operating system is cost effective? Obviously, Linux operating systems, right? You don't need to pay anything for Linux machines. So thereby, what's happening here? In our course, as I said, remember team, these 4 rules, cost effective solutions. We are adapting the cloud. We are adapting to Linux operating systems. We are adapting to all the open source tools which are free. So thereby, what are you investing when you're developing a software and delivering a software to your client? What are the areas are you investing? Of course, you got to pay for the cloud because you're availing hardware resources from the cloud vendor. Apart from that, what else are we paying? Wages for your employees, of course, right? But now, if at all you own a software company and you want to furthermore reduce your expenditure, what you do? Adapt the resources who already know AI, artificial intelligence. Adapt some developers. Let's say I got to develop a software to my client. Now, what I do is, if I own a software company, I'm recruiting employees or I'm recruiting developers who already know AI knowledge, right? So, have a look, team. Let's talk about AI for a while. So, this is my Visual Studio Code application where, let's say, I got to develop a web application for a bank. Now, what I do is, I don't know anything about coding, nothing. But still, at this Visual Studio Code level, I installed a tool which is GitHub Copilot, a tool by the name GitHub Copilot. What is this tool? The world's most widely adapted AI developer tool, right? And now, what am I doing here? I went to this Copilot tool. Let me just close this project. Or let's begin off. Okay, fine. Find him here. I'm going to run a query. So it says ask Copilot or type for let me just type for commands, type / for commands. So Copilot is one AI tool where you should ask Copilot only programming related queries. It's an AI tool, but you should ask only queries that are related to programming only. Now, let's say if I go and say how to make biryani, doesn't give me any result. Okay, because it's not what's an AI tool to fulfill all our requirement, but anything related to coding, you find it doing extremely difficult jobs so easily. So have a look, team. Here, I'm just going to add /new. And what I do is here, I'm just writing a query. Let's say I need, a Java-based web application for my, for a banking firm. We got to write a query and generate source code, something like this. I'm just writing a very minimal query here. Once we hit enter, now see friends, what happens is it's going to create a complete structure. It's not just giving us an outline, but it creates all the directories, directories, test cases and everything. In some time we get a source code generated here. If you just click on create workspace, see friends, here, if you observe, source, main, Java, com, banking, home controller.java. Here you find all the code related to controller model and service. So you find here some code automatically generated. Account.java, account repository.java. It's still working on it though, but let's wait for some time. Let's wait for some time. Yeah, friends, let's wait for some time. It's still working on it. Okay. And see, even the front end website, is also created here for your banking application. And all we got to do is here, team, just click create workspace. Okay. It's still taking time. Okay. So even the test cases team here, test Java com banking. See, it's writing some banking application test cases, and yeah, and so on. And all you do is just click create workspace here, team. If we just say create workspace, now what happens? The entire source code for your project got created. Let me just go and choose the desktop and say here, let's say banking application, something like that. Select as parent folder. Oh, wow. Let me just choose AWS and here new folder, banking. And if I just go select it and say select as parent folder, yeah, team, that's it. Your entire project structure got successfully created. Home controller.java, there is some source code available. Account.java, see, it's giving us all the entire account overview. Likewise, account service, it did generate all the stuff for us. Now, I'm going to hire an employee who got well expertise with AI knowledge. Why is that? Because to create this entire directory structure for a developer, it may take, let's say, 1 day of time. But now what's happening? Within few minutes, we got this entire directory structure created. Now, even though there are challenges, Copilot, what it does, it addresses your challenges and fixes all the challenges for you. And now, way much better than what say human resources, the AI tool is doing better job. So thereby what's happening, organizations are now recruiting individuals who are also equipped with AI knowledge. Now this is development part team. Now coming to DevOps part, let's say I want to create some infrastructure in AWS cloud. Let's say I need some servers in, say for example, Hyderabad region, AP South. I think I got some servers already here. Jenkins, okay, fine. Let me just go to, let's say, Stockholm region. In Stockholm too, I believe I got some servers. Yeah. So the other day we were working on some huge project. That's where there are these servers. Fine, team. Let me go by North Virginia only then. Yeah. So team, over here, let me delete all these machines. I want to create new servers. I gave a task to my what's it, DevOps engineer. I need some infrastructure here with one server with Jenkins already installed, one server with what's say a Tomcat tool installed, and another server with say for example Ansible. There is a tool Ansible already configured. Now, what my DevOps engineer does, he's jumping back to this Visual Studio Code platform. He's firing up this Copilot tool, and here he's writing his requirement. I need a server created, let's say Ubuntu server, created in what's say US East 1 region with Jenkins installed and port 8080 open, and another server with Ansible, another Ubuntu server with Ansible installed. Generate a Terraform script. I'm just writing a query, and if I click play, yeah, team. Now what's happening? It's going to create a some directory structure. You can find main.tf. It created a Terraform script here. This is provider AWS, region is US East 1, right? What server? Jenkins server. And it even included some commands. Say sudo apt update, apt get install minus by Jenkins, and allow the port 8080. Likewise, variables. It's creating some variables here. Access key and secret access key for my AWS account. I got to include them here. Outputs. Here I find what is the outcome of, in order to access Jenkins, I need a public IP that gets printed from this output block. right? So even here, another server too, we asked, I believe it's still working on it. We wanted Jenkins server as well as what's say, and another server Ubuntu installed, Ubuntu server with Ansible installed. I think it did not get the prompt correctly. It didn't quite get my question. So what I do is, again, let me write this way. Create 3 servers in what say US-East-1 region and install, let's say, Jenkins on the first server, Ansible on the second server, and Terraform in the third server. So we got to write, some queries valid. This is what prompt engineering is all about. Ansible in the second server, first Jenkins in the first server. Let's write a query. And now, team, have a look. Oh wow, project for creating servers and installing softwares on them. So the thing is, Terraform is a tool with which we can only create servers, but to configure the tools, we got a tool by the name, what's say, Ansible. So the other day, we did work on some project. Let me just fire up this project one. All these configurations, playbooks, everything I created with what's the Visual Studio Code only. The entire project source code, the infrastructure that we wanted to create and run on the servers, everything is managed and done via Visual Studio Code only. So now you may ask, if I learn just AI, that is sufficient, right? If you just ask, what if I learn only AI? That is not sufficient. Of course, not sufficient, team, because if at all the servers are created, in those servers you want to make some changes. An AI tool listens only to you and gives you the result. But if you want to make some changes over the configurations, you should put your human touch on that and get changes done according to your requirement. Right. So that is the reason we are going to teach you all the tools first in our DevOps journey. First, we make sure that we give you all insights about all these tools. And to get better, uh, you know, at these tool level and simplify your journey, what we do is we add AI touch over all these tools. Right now, let's say you can ask this, you can ask this platform any question, like say, create a Kubernetes manifest to deploy Ubuntu, or let's say to deploy a Apache 2 container, Apache 2, let's say pod, something like that. It's going to generate a template here. See, Apache 2 pod.yaml, and this is the entire Kubernetes manifest written. API version, kind, metadata, spec, ports open, right? Container port is equal to 80. Container name or image name is equal to Apache 2 container, stuff like that. So, team, you get to know more and more about, all these AI tools. Of course, the platform that I'm using is a paid one. This, GitHub Copilot is a paid one. There are other tools too. The most popular you already know, which is chat.openai.com, chat GPT, right? Even here we can raise queries. But the thing is, how to write queries here is very important. Now, there is a position very much in demand, which is prompt engineering, right? There are a lot of jobs around this position, team, prompt engineering. A DevOps engineer with a, prompt engineering position too. If you just apply for a job, adding a well-versed DevOps engineer with prompt engineering concepts too. Just imagine how your profile gets, how your profile gets more hits by your recruiters. A DevOps engineer with AI as well as cloud, AWS cloud or Azure cloud or whatever. You just imagine how it's going to, increase your value in recruitment process. Right, team. The last sessions that or the last batch that I concluded, even for that batch, we are welcoming them back, because by then we did not include AI in their in their course. We're welcoming them back and learn the concepts again to understand the just to make them aware of how AI is going to rule the world and how AI is ruling the world, and how AI is going to create an impact over their resumes. Yeah, team. But for this batch, we are making sure we're going to include this in your batch right from the beginning. I'll teach you everything. Doing all the concepts at AI level. Even a shell script. If I want to write a shell script, what I do, write a simple shell script. Let me just go write a simple shell script to create 10 Docker containers of containers from the image, let's say Nginx. Write a query, and that's it. Now it's going to create us a query here. Sorry, a result here. Bin bash for I in 1.10, do docker run, and that's it. Now, if I just copy the script, let me just copy the script. And if I go to Google platform, let's say console.cloud.google.com. Yeah, friends, every Gmail user is provided with a free free Linux machine. Every Gmail user is provided with a free Linux machine. I'll just jump here and I'll activate this Cloud Shell. And if I run the script over here, that's it. Whatever the containers I'm expecting, all those 10 containers gets created in the fly. Yeah, team. So let's find that out. Yeah, over here, let's go and say, nano script1.tf, something like that. I'm just adding all this entire script, Control O to save, Control X, CHM, or let's say sh script1. Oh, sorry, I saved it as TF, my bad. Just a second, team. MV script1.tf as script1.sh. Sorry, I got to save it as sh. Yeah. So now if I say ./ or sh space script1.sh, that's it. What's happening? The script is getting executed, an image is getting downloaded, and from that image, you find 10 containers getting created. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Done. We are done. See, if I go with Docker ps -a, see friends, there are 10 containers that got created successfully. Likewise, even Python. Python is also very much widely used in your DevOps journey, right? To automate Jenkins activities with Python, to automate Ansible activities with Python. So we got libraries of Python, which we can use. And back in the past, we used it to write queries and everything manually. But now, again, with the advent of AI, what I would do here, write a simple Python script to create a job, create a freestyle job in Jenkins, just running it. And that's it, Tim. Now what's happening here? It's giving us instructions like, first things first, you got to install a package manager called Python pip. Followed by that, you got to create a file by this name. See, it's giving us instructions. First, install Python Jenkins library, and then copy the script and run the script in your server so that, I'll create a job according to your requirement. Yeah, friends, I got to replace my Jenkins username here, my password, Jenkins URL here, and that's it. Based on, the information that we gave, it's going to create us a Python job. And likewise, every day at 10 o'clock, I want, some Python jobs to be, some Jenkins jobs to be built automatically. You write a Python script, you ask the AI tool, it generates the script for you, and your job gets simplified. Yeah, so this way, we are going to take advantage of AI tool to the fullest throughout this entire course. Writing Docker files, writing your Jenkins files, Docker Compose files, Kubernetes manifests, Ansible playbooks, right? Shell scripts, and so on, even Python scripting. All these we are going to take advantage of this platform, AI, and we're going to generate everything right away from here. But I'm not going to just do things this way. First things first, I should teach you some basics of Python. And then only we can take advantage of this part, isn't it? Now, let's say you purchased an automated car and you don't know, let's say the automation failed at some point of time. Let's say the car is driving you over, a cliff. What happened? The automation failed. Then you should at least know how you should take that car under your control, isn't it? Because you cannot leave, yourself in that hanging situation. You should take things under your control. So that's the reason we should know a few activities. Even though AI is simplifying our job, we got to know some of the basics of these concepts. That's the reason we learn all these tools. We do a deep dive in all these areas. And after that, we make sure that if we rely on AI, how our jobs get simplified, that differentiation I'll give you and I'll take you forward in this course team. Okay. So I hope you got some insights from this session today. Online candidates, any questions, team? So tomorrow onwards, you can continue for few more sessions, team. We have, yeah. Well, I got to add this. So friends, since Linux and shell scripting are the absolute basics for us to get started off with, we are having sessions happening at what's a 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. A complete Linux course offered to you. Apart from what's a this course, whatever you're offering, DevOps and AI, for your batch, we are adding 1 month of free Linux classes. Okay, you can join and get a complete understanding of Linux operating system. This is a curriculum where we're going to learn the basics of Linux, introductions of Linux, and so on. Followed by that second part, we are learning shell scripting and so on. And finally, the third part, we learn what's a Linux advanced concepts, administration concepts. For your batch, you're going to have sessions, 2 classes. So possibly I'll teach you Linux here, but the thing is, if we put more effort into learning Linux only, all the initial days of 10 or 15 days, if we spend on Linux, we are missing, we are jumping out of time by the time we reach to, eighth module. That's the reason for your batch, what we are doing, we are providing you with free Linux classes. The sessions, I think the management will update you. 5 to 6 o'clock, you have basic Linux classes. And no, the evening. Yeah, the evening. 5 to 6, you have basic Linux classes. And from there, 7:30 to 9 o'clock, you have your regular DevOps sessions. Yep, DevOps with AI. Yeah, team. So, any questions before we leave for the day? Yeah, now I believe this question is no longer important. Is coding required? So back in the past, students were very much asking us this question: is coding really important? But now you, sir, even though we need some coding knowledge, AI is simplifying the job for us. So whether you have coding exposure or not, it's not a big deal. But whenever there is a concept of automation, definitely in order to automate, we need some scripting knowledge, either shell scripting or Python scripting. But we cover both of them in this course, and AI simplifies it for you in much more better way. Yeah, friends. Yeah. So now, who are the target audience who should learn DevOps and cloud? Freshers or IT, professionals or non-IT candidates? Who are the target audience? So, team, what I would say is anyone who got a valid degree, and if you completed these prerequisites, you are welcome to join DevOps course. These are the prerequisites for DevOps, AWS cloud, or any cloud platform. Even for AI, you should know Linux concepts, shell scripting, and networking basics. No matter you're from any background, chemical engineering or something else, no issues at all, team. And coming to freshers, yes, there are a lot of opportunities for freshers too in DevOps and cloud platforms, especially if you add AI, what say, your profile gets shortlisted much more faster. Okay. Yeah. How many years of experience you got currently? 1.5 year. You can showcase that into DevOps. If at all you want to, or you want to fake your experience, you can add up to a max of 5. Yeah, up to 5 you can add. Up to 5 years you can easily add experience. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Sanskrit, see, we teach you how to create EC2 instances and so on. Yeah, for sure. Can anyone join the course without knowing advanced Java? Not required. Java or Python. If you know just the basics, that is sufficient. Anyways, I'm going to cover that, Sneha Rani. You're not targeting freshers. Yeah. Yeah. So freshers, that's what, team. Freshers, in order to apply for the position of DevOps, first you should add cloud exposure more to your resume. And then if you add a project that you did over DevOps, that helps you a lot. Okay. So organizations expect freshers mostly having exposure towards cloud. So you got to add cloud first and then DevOps. Anyway, since you add AI, you are targeted faster. Yep. Placement opportunities, yes, team. Yes, we have a placement assistance program from Naresh IT. This is my third batch. If your batch starts, this is my third batch with Naresh IT. So my first batch, once they're done with the trainings, we are again welcoming them for the placement assistance program. Right. So you have that again for 1 month. I got to train them, adding AI exposure, letting them do things, and me scrutinizing or me just administering how they are doing things. And even Azure DevOps I have to cover for them, and even Google Cloud Platform I should cover for them. And how to do DevOps activities only with what's say AWS services, I should again take some projects for them. This is what a strict instruction I got from Naresh, what's the faculty, the high level management. So yeah, placement assistance program, we definitely have one placement assistance program for 1 more month. You want to extend your knowledge, we here help you in all possible ways. You can rejoin for the classes, even though the sessions are over for you. Okay. Yeah. We cover majorly, what's it, 3 minor projects and one major project. After that, Osama, when in your placement assistance program, we cover few more projects too. I don't have any experience. Do I get IT job in DevOps field? Yeah, sure, Rojasri. You got to put some effort, and you got to work on your resume. At least if you try to fake some experience, definitely you can easily get into DevOps field. But cloud, you don't need to fake any of the exposure. When you're applying for a what's a cloud position, you got to just add a fresher. Yeah. Can we get Linux classes recordings also? No, no. I believe recordings are given only to what's say only to people who enroll. I'm not really sure of team. Please check with your mentors once. Okay. Yeah, the training assistance program goes this way. We get all the students from all the different trainers. I'll be taking the what's the placement assistance program, where I'll assign them tasks and they should complete the tasks in the class itself. Let me show you. If I Google Sheets, I the other day we assigned some. Yeah, it's not just a program that goes unidirectional. You got to do things. I'm going to scrutinize the activities that you do. So every week we have sessions, sorry, we have assignments. I'll share this way. You got to complete your tasks and assignments. See, I got 11 responses from the earlier batch. Yeah, they got to submit their assignments too, so that I get to know how you're learning things and what areas should I teach you well and make you better. Yeah, team. So a complete scrutinization. I'm going to be very strict in this areas, right? Not only just teaching you the classes, we'll provide you with assignments. Assignments should be completed in time. Likewise, class notes I'll provide you, and you are added to something called a classroom, in which where I keep on updating you with all the updates. Right, team. If I go to classroom google.com here, so all the class notes, everything is shared over this classroom. This is going to be a bridge between you and me, and this is where I leave all the updates for you, team. Okay, class notes, assignments, say Linux assignments here. The assignments are given to you this way. You got to complete these assignments and you should submit them back to us. Tests, of course, you should complete the tests too, right? And yeah, this way we give all insights to you. And of course, the classes are not, yeah, I think, team, for the first 10 sessions, you get all the sessions uploaded to YouTube and they provide you the links. Say for the last batch, yes, we gave access recorded sessions of the respected classes. So you get tomorrow a recorded session of this class uploaded to YouTube. Likewise, up to day 10, the 10 days of classes, you'll be given access to. Okay. Afterwards, people who enroll to recordings, for them only, we give you recordings access. People who enrolled only for the regular classes, you got to attend the regular classes. Yep. Our sessions, yes, of course, we're going to have a lot of fun, team. I'm not serious all the time. I'll make sure we have what's a fun sessions too. The way how in real-time corporate environments, Saturday evenings, how they conduct what's a fun sessions. We have such fun sessions too. Okay, which the ultimate goal of the course is to have a deeper what's a insights provided to you, and we having a proper interaction, isn't it? So yeah, Tim, I promise you all that fun stuff. At the same time, I'll make sure that you do things. I'll welcome some of you to join, take my place and do things. The other day, the last class, we did the same. I think here in this account, I believe. Yeah, to-do list somewhere here. We created some to-do list. No, no, not this one. And over here somewhere. Yeah, team, somewhere here we created some tasks for the students to do, and I'm not finding it right now. Okay, fine, friends. All right. So yeah, I'll make sure I'll provide you the same. What's a Yeah, here this way. Create an EC2 instance in North Virginia region. Install a web server. Install a web server in Nginx. Change the port. These are the tasks I gave to some of the students, and they came forward. They did all these tasks. Yeah. Mhm, mhm. In the classroom, you can contact every day for the first 15 minutes. I'll spend time on your what's it challenges and queries. Then you got to pay me, and then I'll give you answers. Nothing as such. We have a community where we'll help you out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure. Post the course is over. You'll be provided with my email address, my mobile number, and everything. So I'll add you to the group where there are existing DevOps engineers whom I trained, and you're also added there. Yeah, that's what. Not right away, because as per the norms of Naresh IT, I should not provide them. But post the sessions are over, I'll provide you access so that you can update. Sorry, you can stay connected over there. If you are facing some challenge which some DevOps engineer already faced, he will help you out over there. That's a helping community. Yeah, you are part of it. Yeah. Yeah, team. So this way we make sure that we assign tasks to you, and you got to complete the tasks. Likewise, you should go by the tests. You got to complete your tests. So the last weekend, I did forward some of the tests. Some of the students they're done with the tests. Some of them they are yet to complete. Yeah. So this way, I'll make sure, team. I'll put all my effort here to make you understand the concepts better and teach you everything. Up to date. Yeah. So coming to the questions, yeah, Monday through Saturday we have classes where Monday to Friday I'll be your trainer, and you learn things from me. Saturday you are the trainers and you teach me. That is how it works. Personal workshops, yeah, in DevOps and AI now you can apply for even you can work even as a freelancer, or if you want to work remote, you can work even on a remote basis, because the positions are so vast and companies are expecting us really talented professionals. Because team the time when organizations recruited people during COVID, what happened is that's a slap to every software company. Because if you know DevOps, they recruited you, but in reality you don't know anything about DevOps. But what happened is you managed your job by sitting at home, giving access to some other guy. You paid half of your salary to that guy, and that guy did DevOps job for you. Now, once this COVID thing and the lockdown, all these are over, when organizations welcomed individuals to join back the companies, now they are finding the true faces. Are they really experienced, or did they manage the job by letting the organization's assets to someone else? When they realized that majority of all the DevOps engineers, they managed their jobs by getting their jobs done from someone else. Now the companies are in a deep what say they're repenting, and they're now doing things so what say yeah, now the interviews are also happening so strict. If you attend an interview, the interviewer asks you, show me your room. Yeah, look, what say turn the camera towards the left, towards the right, show your room. Your lip sync, are you lip syncing, someone's helping you? Have you installed any tools like Otter, where the some guy is speaking in the back end, you're getting a text here and you're speaking that out? So all these are happening at a great level. So we can't escape the interviews, no more cheatings, but we should learn the skill, right? So that's where team AI is going to simplify your job to the fullest. So now the transition that we are finding in students when they're learning AI is way much better than what I taught students, the last year. So that's the reason, team. We'll put more and more effort here towards AI too, and get everything covered. Okay. For this batch, this is the plan. The training definitely takes, what say, some 90 days of time. 90 days of time. Every day the sessions are happening from 7:30 till 9 o'clock. Okay. And of course, Linux for one more additional month. You can attend Linux 5 p.m. and join for what's say DevOps at 7:30. Okay. And apart from that, again, placement assistance program you'll be a part of. That's again going to be one more month. Yeah, team. So this is the entire course structure. And from this course, you can add up to 5+ years of experience for sure. If you want to, let's say if you want to manage with any fake experiences or so, you can add up to 5 years for sure. You gain that level of confidence. Yeah, friends. So any questions? I know some of your questions were not addressed. Online team, it's already 9:30. So let's do one thing. Let's wrap up the session for today. Please join the session the same time tomorrow. For sure, I'll address all your queries. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, team. Any questions offline? Any questions? Are we good? How many of you found the session interesting? Or just a boring session? Type yes if it's boring. Online team. Yes, it's boring. Yes, it's good. What about basic networking? I'll cover basic networking too. We'll teach you the basic concepts of networking, IP addresses, public IPs, private IPs, right? I included that even here in what say the Linux sessions here. See, networking basics are also covered in the course. Yeah, understanding networking in Linux operating systems. Yeah, for sure, we'll cover networking as well. Yeah, we are sorry, we are having sessions online and offline as well. So anyone would like to join for offline, you can join us here, team. The new campus of Naresh IT, closer to, I believe, the hospital, which is, it's Apollo Hospital, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, fee structure, you can reach out to our management team. They'll help you getting the fee structure. Okay. Yeah. My promise is I'll teach you DevOps, AWS Cloud, as well as AI for this batch. Okay. Yeah. Fine, friends. So let's call it a day and continue again in the session tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Online teams, any questions? Some of you raised hands. Yeah. Course completion certificate will be provided. Yeah. The batch ends by, since it's, let's say, if we start it on a serious note, effective July, August, September, by the end of September, and including placement, by the end of October, you will get this course completed, including placement. I'm saying your batch gets completed by what's it, August, September, October. By the end of October, it will complete. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. 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 For sure. Yeah. Yeah.